Again, thank you very much. Maybe I'll start slightly with my background first, what I've done before. I'm actually electrical engineering specialist in telecommunication. So I work better part of my life in telecoms industries, telecom Kenya. And then apart from that, in some industries specializing in mobile telephony strategy within the region, that is Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. After that, I was appointed by Kibaki administration to be industrialization secretary in the Ministry of Industrialization. And I was there for about 5 years. And then we did quite a lot promoting micro, small, and medium enterprises in Kenya. We drafted the current industrial policy, and I would say we did quite a lot. And my boss by then was PS Karanja Kimicha, so we worked quite well with it. And then we were also looking forward to promoting bigger industries like steel manufacturing, manufacturing of some simple key capital equipment, which would really help, the smaller entrepreneurs to be able to spearhead manufacturing industries in Kenya. So after that, I was appointed to the PS infrastructure. I think this is where I did quite a lot. I remember, the target which the administration had set was 10,000 kilometers within a span of 5 years. And you see, this was a very, very, I would say, higher target relative to what has been done in the past. Because if you look at it, the past actually, the agencies or without agencies or without ministry, they've been doing close to about 400 kilometers per year. So if you see 10,000 kilometers, that actually it means fivefold. You have to multiply by five times than what you have been before. And this was a challenge, and I think I must thank the President, His Excellency Kenyatta, and also the Deputy President, because they entrusted me with this task, and they gave me a lot of support. And I would say to date, the key ministry staff, we managed to roll out close to about 30, today is close to about 8,000 kilometers. And this is by no means a small achievement. This is a great achievement for this country. So I'm happy today, whenever I traverse across the country, I can be able to identify that there's a road network which is being within those sectors. So my background probably also is, I did, apart from engineering, I did management courses, doctoral in business entrepreneurship, and also strategic leadership. So I think this, if you look at all this, the experience, and apart from that also, how the government works, the networking and so on. So if you look at all this, really, I thought it's high time to go and, as in Bomet, to see Bomet people and to be able to discuss and apply this kind of experience. I think it's becoming very handy that when I walk around in Bomet County today, I see there are quite a lot of issues which we still have to do. There are many challenges still in infrastructure, still in health sector, agriculture. So all this really is motivation. I want to see if we can work together with people of Bomet to make Bomet County one of the best counties in this country. And that is our motivation really going back to want to aspire to be the governor of Bomet. I think essentially that is in short what really motivates me to work closely with people of Bomet, because to see how I can be able really to give it in terms of experience, in terms of networking, which you can be able to help to uplift the standards, living standards for people of Bomet.
Maybe Governor, being an experienced individual, what laws will be guiding you as the Chief Executive Officer of Bomet?
I think I think more or less there are no laws, there are no frameworks. I think more or less experience, and then there are what you call the existing guidelines in how government works in terms of, you know. So, looking at Bomet, I think as I had mentioned today, it's a county which has a lot of potential. One of course is we have the manpower potential, we have workforce to about 1 million population of Bomet, of which 51% are women and then 49% are men. Despite that, also we have close to about 60%, or slightly over 60% are youth. So this gives us a challenge on how we can be able to take care of women, especially in terms of their development, and also the youth, especially as they really, you know, to be able to get them gainful kind of meaningful development. So as a CEO for Bomet, I've been looking at various issues. One of course is what are the current issues in Bomet? Where are we at this point in time? And then my dream is where do you want to be within the next 5 years? So just as I had mentioned, there are many challenges in different sectors. One of course is once we see the current situation, we look at the priorities. Because I strongly believe the people who have been there, the governors who have been there, the current government, they have done their part. So it's not right to say that they have done nothing. We are going to see how far level they have done. But the critical issue is where do you want us to be within the next 5 years? So I see mainly health is a priority, water, agriculture, and then we look at women and youth empowerment. We look at tourism, we look at infrastructure. All those, I have a 10-point plan in which really I want to focus my priorities going forward. So, and also we must be able also to appreciate that we have a workforce who are already in place. So bringing in the management or managing workforce is where we have to create an enabling environment also for the, you know, for the people or for the employees within the county, so that they can also improve the service delivery. Because what you are saying again is, I think that is the key. We can be able to do all these plans, but without the people ready to deliver, I think that we will be able to achieve that. So we should be able to motivate and train them and build their career within this workforce so that they can be able to deliver. So I think that is it. So you ask a pertinent question is what really guidelines? Guidelines is how far they have gone, but mainly is I have priorities going forward within the next 5 years. And then apart from that, we build a longer kind of vision, which actually we want to do to drive Bomet to prosperity. And then apart from that, to see the sectors which mentioned again, which needs attention, and then develop the manpower or what you call the workforce in which you can be able to build. But mainly I want to build a team which you can be able to deliver and service delivery.
Maybe what mechanisms will you put in place to create a space where the informal and formal sectors bring employment to the people?
Yes, indeed. And what I said earlier was 60% across the country is the youth. And again, if the government cannot be able to take some measures which can be able to alleviate their unemployment, I think then we have a crisis in the coming years. So the way I look at it is, first of all, is the youth have a potential to be able to transform this country to greater heights. I think that is a starting point. Then as government, you must be able to provide the kind of training, the kind of facilities, the kind of, gone are those days whereby we think maybe government and the others can be able to provide formal employment. But we're coming back. When we look at around us, I think we can be able to create some opportunities in which the youth can be able to, to employ the youth or really get income through those kind of activities. One, of course, is we are looking at let's say manufacturing sector. If you see in this country, close to about 11% is being contributed within the manufacturing sector. Of course, over the years they've been going up and down. But if you look at this sector, this is an area where it creates employment, either formal or formal employment. So going back to Bomet, I think the key issue which we'll be looking at is, I think there are two sectors. One, of course, is manufacturing in terms of, metal fabrication or any of those, manufacturing activities, setting up the workshop, and then also providing what you see the key issue again, which affects manufacturers, especially from small or micro enterprises or entrepreneurs, is what you call the investment, what you call the capital equipment. So I think the company will be able to provide those capital equipment so that if all these entrepreneurs can come and get maybe lathe machine or cutting, all those kind of machines where they can come and do their work and then go and assemble within their various workshops. So one, of course, will be to set up industrial park in Bomet, which again they can do various issues. There will be some incubation activities in every sub-county. And then once they do, actually we identify the products which can be sold or which can be used within the county and also sell outside the country. So that means they must be able to meet what we call stringent quality activities. We can identify, let's say, building materials, windows, or doors, or even going to spare parts for the motor vehicles, and then we focus on that. Another group can also identify something which they can be able to do. So within that sector, you find we can be able to create, employment within that sector. Now, there's the other sector again, which is agro or value addition within the agro-based sector, and I think again, Bomet, we are agro-based, county, and there are quite a lot of things we can be able to do. We can set up, let's say, the value addition in terms of tomato plant or for small plant. We can go to, dairy plant and all those other kind of things which you can be able to identify. I think once you sit down, you can be able to prioritize and see what is the market demand. So once we have done this, we can be able to employ various sectors. I'm sure also there are other youth, of course, which they can be able to, which are trained within the ICT sector. And I think it's a sector which is growing sector in terms of, you can be able to do application for various sectors. So again, the issue again which we are going to do is within all the sub-counties we set up what we call incubation centers. And then try now to identify what are the key issues we can be able to do within the ICT sector, within the agro-based sector, within the different sectors. Now, the other sector which I'm looking at is also sports. Sports, if you look at various sectors again, sports is more or less, they're treating it as a business. So being a business, you look at, you see the Manchester and Chelsea and all those, that is something very exciting, which also can be able to engage our youth. So as county, again, we have make sure that we promote. Quite often, there's no problem if you need to build what you call talent academy, which you nurture the youth as they come up. So in every sub-county, again, we are going to support one team, football or soccer team, and then the other also, that is for both men and also women. Yeah. So we want to promote in both sectors to see what... now, apart from that, you should be able to provide infrastructure, which is more or less related to that. So stadium, again, we are going to provide those facilities to make sure that, the youth sports team can be able to have that kind of thing. There is also something which has not really come up within the sport and culture, is what we call creation of content. Content, again, is something, again, which the youth within the arts and the others can be able to, to create and sell locally kind of produce content, or they can also be able to sell. So there are quite a lot of activities when we sit down and prioritize and look at also what are the other counties doing so that they can be able to engage. Now, the other set, which also I'm seeing, is what we call the culture. Culture. We should be able to be proud of our culture as people of Bomet, as a community. So we are going to set up also culture, and you see culture will be beneficial in both. One, of course, is teaching the youth what is to be proud of their culture. This is how it used to be 200 years ago, 100 years ago. These are artifacts or whatever which we have probably as a county. So again, somebody out of that can be able to make business out of that. So there are very many things which you can be able to, but one thing is to realize there's a problem in terms of employment, and we have to empower. So once you have identified a business case, is the county can be able to arrange some funding, and which can be able to help actually so the nurture, so that they can help the youth actually be able to move their business. Now the other sector, which the other aspect which you must be able to look at is, assuming let's say you have done these products, so they should be able to set up a marketing aspect within this kind of framework. So marketing can come through the cooperative societies and come through others, but the county should be able to help the youth. I mean, all the kind of produce actually which are being sent out to market, either within again or outside the county. I'll help you. I'll mention one particular case where the CEO is being seen also as a marketing expert within the county. In Bomet today there are many, hotels which have come up. I can put up and say 3 or 4. Okay? So the key problem which is inherent at this point in time is quite often maybe the county or the others can be able to hold seminars or conferences with them, but they delay in terms of payments. So I think this is something again which as a county we must be able to help investors in the county to make sure that once they provide their service, they must be paid so that they progress within their business. I have in mind whereby you see the CEO, you can be able to encourage conferences from the other counties to come and hold it in Bomet. You can be able to market within the various sectors. You can hold a promotion day or investment day or whatever the marketing showcase for Bomet County, what we have within the county, which can be able to bring other people from all parts of Kenya to come to Bomet. Our proximity again to Mara and the others again also should be able to help us on this, but to create activities which can be able to enhance the hospitality. I mean the marketing of most of the products which we have today. We can also have investment day where we can be able to show what the youths have done, which we have seen investment kind of programs or expo, whatever, which all the other countries can be able to come and see what the youths have done. So I think that will help in terms of marketing, all the products which we are manufacturing in the Bomet County.
Is one of the...
I think that is one of the key priorities which I mentioned earlier. We have a referral hospital, we have a bigger, that is Longisa Hospital. And if you look at again other counties, they have referral hospitals, MTRH and Dorrit and the others and so on. Now the key issue is the facilities which are being offered in that hospital. We have facilities, but the service delivery is very poor. I think that's what I'm not really. And at that point in time, you find people, if they are sick, either they go to private hospital or they go to the other counties, they go Eldoret or Nakuru or the others. So that shows that there's a big problem there, which we really need to fix. So I would see going in the future within in my administration, Longisa, which is our biggest hospital in Bomet County, would be more or less a role, what you call a referral hospital. We decongest by looking at the other counties. So first of all, you invest in an infrastructure on the sub-counties, and if there is need also, you go down the level in terms of dispensaries, health centers, to improve. But one thing which we must be able to fix is optimizing the facilities, make sure the doctors are working in a good environment, and cleanliness in terms of having water, and there's no water at this point in time in those hospitals. Because you cannot be able to lead people who are not healthy, who are sick and so on. So I think that is a priority, making sure that all the sub-county hospitals are fully working. And the staff and the doctors, they are working in a very good environment. You provide the facilities which can be able to create. Now, the other issue is, that is access. Of course, what you are saying is access to medical facilities, quality services, and then apart from that also is, affordability for the rural areas. Incidentally, there are some diseases which are very expensive to treat. I'm talking about cancer, diabetic, and all these lifestyle diseases. So that is something which is prevalent now in Bomet County. We have 30% of cancer cases are actually in Bomet County. And you see, to treat cancer cases, actually, you're talking in terms. I've been attending fundraising for billions of shillings, 1.8 or whatever, million shillings per family. And you see, the family cannot be able to afford that. So we must be having a framework in which the government can be able to assist to pay part of these bills. And that is the universal health insurance, which again, I want to put it accurately, is something which we must be able to make it work, especially for the vulnerable kind of people group down there. I think this is something which we must be able. So in a nutshell, we look at the insurance, we can be able to help. And then also there should be a policy whereby if a certain bill go beyond that, the county through those kind of insurance schemes actually can be able to help pay or offset those kind of bills. So I think this is something which has really, people are sick, but they cannot afford. They cannot, even if they afford, they don't have good quality healthcare facilities, or even the treatment, they're very expensive, because if somebody goes to the elderly to see whoever is taking care of the patients, he goes and look for a place to sleep, the transport costs and all those things. Now, the other issue, which of course you see, is the ambulances. We don't have adequate kind of ambulances, and especially during this particular time when there are done of this pandemic and so on. And in the process, of course, many people lost their lives. So I think this is something, again, which we're going to make sure we put in place, provide necessary or fully kind of equipped ambulances within all the sub-counties, and up-to-date facilities, not just, you bring a Land Rover which was that and you say this is an ambulance. No, something which is good. Because if you use, we must be able to value life, especially in our people. So I think that is something which we must be able to do. So in summary, to make sure that we upgrade health facilities, to ensure that we provide health quality service, to make sure that we have drugs within and distribution mechanism whereby we distribute to all the local hospitals, to make sure that we have what we call primary care facilities. We more or less focus on preventive more even than curative kind of process. So we look at the community outreach in terms of health facilities. So I think these are the things which we really need to look into. But the priority is to make sure that we push this agenda of health facilities so that we have, people working hard in day-to-day life, knowing that they have good health facilities.
What are some of the key things you wish to accomplish for people of Bomet?
Correct. You see, what I said earlier was, I look at what the others have done. And indeed, I know there are some projects which they didn't complete, maybe 50%, 40%. Some have taken even 5 years, they have not completed at all. So they have spent money which they cannot be able to get services out of those facilities they have installed. So you normally look at what you call what has been done to date. Where are we, in terms of health facilities? Because I appreciate again the other leadership also they're putting some effort. Now, looking at span within the next 5 years, you prioritize, and then out of these projects now, what are the priorities, or what you call short term, which you can be able to do? And first of all, which I've said again, I'll fix. We look at that, we complete. We provide drugs within the next hospital, because of that distribution, their workforce, to make sure that they're working in a very good environment. And then look at the facilities, medical facilities that have been installed, to make sure that they are working before even you start building other things. Now, the other issue is water. Water is a key priority again. There are some areas where they don't have water. You go to Jebalungu sub-county, you go to Bomet East, all those areas, all those, they don't have clean drinking water. So again, we must be able, and it's not very expensive, you prioritize and see how we can be able to do. First of all is to encourage the culture of what you call harvesting of water. Provide the tanks and then harvest, and then every household will be having good water for drinking water. Now, second is you drill boreholes, and you must have a target, maybe 100 a year or whatever, in those priority areas, which we can be able to do. So I think that is something, again, we must be able to, before you embark on a bigger project, like maybe liaising with the national government or liaising with the national government or any other relevant partners. But this is something which you can do within the facilities which we have. Now, the other aspect, of course, infrastructure, we must fix these roads. and the standards which is required within the available kind of resources. And that one is not very difficult. That one again is to repair, to maintain, and so on within a very short term of 3 months. And then before we will start new projects, we fix those ones in which tea can be able to get access to. I mean, tea farmers can be able to take their produce to tea collection centers and so on. So I think that is something again which I must prioritize within the next 100 days to make sure that that one is fixed before we start even looking at the bigger projects which are in place. So there must be some quick wins in terms of infrastructure, in healthcare, in agriculture, which will not take, may I say, 1 year to be able to do. And it will also take time to be able to reorientate staff, to be able to improve the service delivery, to reorientate even the community and the people so that they are supportive to the projects which we are doing as a leadership for the county. But again, there must be some, again, in terms of employment, what is a framework in which you can be able to do within the shortest span possible so that you can provide the youth within the employment and the others which I'm sure we have some funding which can be able, quick win, which again, you have a business plan which we can be able to immediately fund so that we move very, 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 very fast. And then create marketing for already produced. Because when it comes to, like we have potatoes, we have cold storage, again, the marketing component is not there. We have onions and the others, again, we have infrastructure for the cold storage, again, which again, if you see the marketing component, we streamline, let's say, the cooperative society so that they can be able to move with CPOs and the others. We have a sweet potato, value addition plan. Again, this is something which we must be able to push forward. It doesn't need additional rejection. So let's fix and make sure that what is in place can be able to work within the next 100 days before we start and pack and do other projects.
Great. Maybe before we dig in, maybe deeper into politics, we've spoken of youths, but where do women come in the government to make sure they're not left out?
Yeah, if you see women are the backbone for the society. And I think that is very clear. And any government who actually ignore the contribution for women will not be able to move forward, if I can put that so. Because African ladies, women, and so on, they do quite a lot of, either within the family unit, within the society, and so on. And what I've mentioned, again, is in Bomet County, we have 51% are women. So for sure, you must be able to provide and engage them, first of all, in leadership, so that they can be able to address, whether they're leadership, if it is CECs, if it is the directors, and so on, you must make sure that we appoint them to those positions. Second is we must also, in terms of training, career, we give priorities also to women so that they can do their kind of thing. Second, also in terms of their projects, we provide technical advice to the women so that they can be able to. We have very many kind of things we can be able to do, like rearing of maybe chicken or all those. Ideally, you should not give money and say, okay, can you bring some small chicks, and then we should go slightly rather than that. Within the engagement, keep targets within 3 months. I have 100 per your household and so on. And then for that, you can be able to set up the marketing arm. You shoot a facility where they can buy either their eggs and everything which they can go to sell to the other part. I mean, so you look at the whole value chain. And there's no problem even you go another further step whereby you have a chicken sausages facility where you go to manufacture that one and sell them. So I think that is what we said. What we just give you the money, no technical advice, no marketing advice, nothing, And I think that is something which we need to streamline. So we want to make also women feel that they are part of Bomet in terms of engaging in economic activities within the county. I think that is what my administration will be able to do. And when we say we are going to do, I think this is something which we must, by all means, make sure that we engage. Just like you are also addressing issues in terms, from the youth. You cannot be able to ignore 51% of the population. You cannot. And say you are running a government. I think that should not be the issue. So I think that is, in a nutshell, probably what I'll be able to do.
And the DP might be in a dilemma of choosing who to endorse and maybe even to run with to fly the UDA ticket for governor. What will happen if he fails to endorse you? What direction
Really, it has never come to me. And I think as the three aspirants, we are going to compete on an equal kind of basis. You don't expect investment. I think that is it. I think we need people of Bomet. And the Bomet people know that endorsement is not to be a factor. It's what can a governor or any of the aspirants actually can be able to provide in terms of spearheading their leadership. I think that is it. If I know I'll be endorsed, then there is no need for me. I'm not going to campaign at all. I just sit in the office the next day. I have a ticket. And I don't think. And also, I think the deputy president, indeed, we have worked quite closely with the deputy president. We have worked quite closely also with the president. So in terms of leadership, what will sell me is actually the work which you have done in the past. It's not like endorsement and all that. And I think also maybe the others are not. I don't talk on their behalf, but for me, endorsement is not one of the factors I'm looking at. We must work hard and be able to articulate on the policies and things which we'll be able to do for the people of Bomet to raise their kind of, the economic activities and make the county prosper. I think that is a hope which we want to create for Bomet County. Because if I can be able to be endorsed and I don't perform, I think that will not be able, the poverty will still be, inherent within the county. So I think that is how you should be able to look at. Not really endorsement, not even evaluation, but this is a ticket which I subscribe to its policies. And I said, and I'm going again to say that I'll stand in UDA ticket because, I believe in what you call bottom-up approach. We want to make the bottom market of the pyramid prosper so that they can hold the economy of Bomet. And this is what we are saying right now. And this is what I was discussing a few minutes. These are youth, entrepreneurs, and so on. And you look at the other countries, this is what they have done in to uplift. The trickle down where the economy, whereby you make the policies on the top without really consultation within the bottom, of the pyramid. So I think to answer is at this point in time, I've never been approached for any kind of endorsement, and I don't think it's going to be. Nomination, that is the primaries, we're fighting. If you are in UDA, we are fighting on the same battle. But after nomination, the party leader naturally will come and support the candidate. Whether you want to call it endorsement or whatever, that is a fact. That is a fact. Being if you are in CCM, your party leader will come and support the party. It will be more or less party kind of thing. But for now, we are more focusing on who should be able to deliver, improve the service delivery, and uplift the economy of Bomet.
And maybe as we come to a close, finally, the DPM Monday was in Bomet, and there was rivalry among youths from different people they support. Maybe in respect to peace, what would you like to tell the people of Bomet as we come to
I think I mentioned this one and before. Violence, either in Bomet or other counties or in the country, is not something which augur well for the economy of this country. Because even at the international level, before any investor comes to Kenya to invest, I think they are what you call political stability. They look at the ratings. And among the key issues are actually violence and the investment safe when they invest there. So I think also that should be able to come. Indeed, I think it was an unlikely kind of situation in Bomet. The violence, the intoxication, themselves, youth and the others. If you see the violence, it's not good for the people of Bomet. If you see the violence, it's not encouraging economic activity or investment within that sector. So I'll urge, if there is any leader or any aspirants and so on, I think first and foremost is to be able to bring on board peace, which can be able to make Bomet actually prosper. First of all, of course, it will bring in the investors because nobody will invest in Bomet. That will affect future kind of development in Bomet. Nobody even will want to engage. So you find actually also investors will flee to the other counties which are peaceful, who can be able to support them and so on. So I'll encourage. But I think again that shows the kind of, which I had mentioned earlier, 6% who are idle, they don't have anything to do. So I think this is something again which we must address seriously actually moving forward to make sure that we don't have this kind of situation actually coming forward. And if you can remember, most of the youth circle, we had good people sitting outside, whatever, the people where we were not near the dice. So, you see, we have 80% of people of Bomet who want to prosper. But again, we must be able to fix which is 20, which is spoiling the 80%. And when I mentioned the programs which we put in place, and also let them understand that I'm not going to invest in a facility which the next day will become a destroyed, or nobody will attract the people who are coming to buy things across the board. So we have to create an enabling environment in Bomet where visitors, where investors, where even the residents of Bomet are very proud of their county and they can be able to engage in any activity without really worrying in terms of